Hello and welcome to the Cottage at Woodland Corners. Today we're making rhubarb pie. Rhubarb pie is one of those recipes that just really takes me back. The first time I had it was at my grandmother's house in Iowa on a farm. And I remember I used to just love it. It's got this great tart, sweet flavor to it, almost like a tart cherry pie, except it's even more tart. I remember seeing rhubarb grow, and the plant almost looks like giant elephant ears. You wouldn't even think of it as a food item. And if you've ever tasted a stalk of rhubarb, and I know some people say they like it, but if you bite into that thing, most folks I think are going to say, what is this? And probably be averse to it. I remember the first time I told my brother, this is rhubarb. This is the same thing Grandma puts in the pie. He took a bite and literally accused me of trying to make him eat something toxic. He just thought that this plant, there's no way that this is edible. So it's a really strange plant to put into a pie. I'm not sure who came up with the idea of a rhubarb pie, but I'm glad they did. I have a friend who also was raised on a farm in the Midwest who loves rhubarb pie. And I remember him saying that he hasn't had a rhubarb pie in a long time, that he only gets it when he goes back home, and that most people, when they make them or when you buy them in a store, they are sold as strawberry rhubarb. So it's like a strawberry hybrid pie made with some rhubarb, so it gives it a little extra tang. But finding just a plain rhubarb pie, he said, was pretty hard to do. And I agree. I haven't, again, had one since I used to go to Iowa. So I've seen strawberry rhubarb. I have rarely seen just plain rhubarb, but I love just plain rhubarb pie. And so today we're going to be taking a look at just a basic, straightforward recipe for rhubarb pie. And if you like tart, tangy, kind of sweet things, then this recipe will probably appeal to you. If you're not into tart, you're not going to like it, and I don't advise you to try it. I will say one thing that I would like to add, which is that I tend to use store-bought pie crust. Like many things that I talk about on this channel, you're going to hear me say, I can do this, I can make a pie crust, I promise I can do these things. But when it comes to just wanting to have that food item and knowing that I can purchase something from the store that to me is a fair facsimile of what I could make, I'm going to probably drop the money and save myself the time. And that's just who I am and how I operate. If you love to make pie crust, if it gives you a sense of satisfaction to make that pie crust and to get into that dough, I completely understand it. In a pinch, if somebody wanted a pie and I didn't have a crust that was pre-made in the house, I could, like I say, go ahead and make one. But it just seems like a lot of time and effort for something that I can just buy in a package that, to me, once you dress that thing up, it's going to taste very similar. So I guess unless you have like a family pie crust recipe that you just think is awesome, a store-bought crust is actually going to be okay. And so that's a cut corner that I would recommend for folks who feel like making a pie is something that is outside their comfort zone or takes too much time. Just get yourself a ready-made crust and go for it. But with that, let's get cooking. for watching today's episode. If you tried the recipe or tweaked the recipe and gave it a shot, I'd love to hear your feedback and comments on how it turned out. If you have thoughts or suggestions or ideas, please feel free to drop them as well. Please feel free to support the channel by liking and subscribing, especially if you feel like this is content that you would like to see more of. See you next time.